Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at building awareness of the movement of the rib cage through backswing and through impact. I'm going to start with presenting a postural cue and then kind of walk you through an exercise, moving to hitting some shots to help you improve the movement of the rib cage. If you're a player that stands up coming into impact, which I know there's a lot of you out there, this could particularly be a really good exercise for you to go through. Thanks once again for joining me, and for those of you who are not aware, I'm doing a lot of online lessons in this space now, so if you ever want my take on your swing, go to ianmellorgolf.com. It's very easy to connect with me there and we can find a time that works for both of us and you'll get that specific take that I can give you on your swing. Okay, so today we're looking at rib cage movement, and this video, the story of it kind of goes back to a screen that I had with Dr. Brendan McLaughlin quite some time ago now. Dr. Brendan McLaughlin works at the Vault Performance, where they've worked with just so many of the top athletes in the game. So just very high level of intellect that they apply, and I just personally appreciate their approach, specifically Brendan. So in the screen, one thing that came out of the screen was the relationship from down the line in how my pelvis and rib cage would sit, and in how my rib cage, the center of my rib cage, would be somewhat forward in relation to the pelvis, which was a little bit back. So even my own awareness there in the simplicity of just standing was not where I needed to be. And there's for many reasons why we adopt or have these postural patterns. It can be just where we're in life, it can be things we're exposed to. As I mentioned, there's so many different reasons, but however, I had that pattern at the time, and that would then influence how I moved into my setup position and then how I moved in my swing. So in building awareness and building the protocols to help me to get the pelvis to sit one a little bit more forward and then the ribcage a little bit more back, that would then help me to get into a better position, set up in a more optimum position to rotate from in the backswing. Let's start off with the breathing awareness, the breath awareness, and how that influences the rib cage position. So Brendan provided me an exercise to help me to build the awareness of the rib cage sitting down. I've managed to, or have come up with a way to help me to build that awareness into my golf swing, where I would start off by interlacing my fingers in between my ribs. So I'm going to cross my hands over and put my thumbs almost in this little hole here, this little hole part in the chest. I'm going to interlace my fingers in my ribs here. So you can see I've got this position here. So old position, rib cage will be a little bit forward. And what I would do is I would take a breath in through my nose, and then breathing out nice and slow through my mouth, I would allow my rib cage to sit down. I'd almost encourage it to sit down with my hands into a position that I would describe feels like my rib cage is now hugging my spine, and then I would learn to breathe from there without the rib cage returning into this position here, which was the originally screened position. So I learned to essentially, I built the awareness of the rib cage position, and then through that breathing, my pelvis very much would respond and actually move more under me, almost more of one of those systems in the body around movement and balance to keep us in a state of equilibrium. If I were in repositioning my awareness and building my awareness of the rib cage, the pelvis somewhat got into a better position, felt more engagement through the deep abdominals, and then from there I would actually use the same exercise here to go into my setup here. And when I do this, now I feel as though I have much less space between belt buckle and sternum here. So like before, it would be a little bit longer. It felt much less. Felt like, again, I'm using my core much more and those deep abdominals much more. And from there, felt like a very different rotation back, especially for me around my trail hip. So very, very different there, but I'm sure we're all going to feel it a little bit differently. So very different rotation back. Felt as though I had like a lot of room here, and then I can almost rehearse into impact and through. Into impact, felt as though, I mean, really, really compressed around my abdominal muscles there. So I'm here, going into there. Really felt as though I was very short through here, much more control through the abs in that move through. So great little exercise there. Once again, I'll just guide you through this. Taking your fingers, interlacing them through, in between your ribs there. Thumbs are in your sternum. Your rib cage is sat down. Little rotation back, into impact and through. Very different way of doing the old hands across the shoulder position that we've often players have referenced and used in the past. But after you've done a few of them, then it'd be time to work towards seeing if you can incorporate those same sensations that you had with the rib cage movement, with the torso movement into your swing. And I would always suggest start off nice and slow, just pitching a few balls through those phases that you've been working on to just simply build movement awareness before putting the expectation on hitting shots perfectly with a full swing.